All right, let's go see some trot work first. How old is he now?
He's 24.
Oh my gosh, you'd never know it.
I know, she doesn't know it either.
Wow. So as an aside, as he's getting going at trotting for a moment, and then do a 3-lip serpentine with the Verena. They had the Easy Boots, I think it was Easy Boot, I can't remember, that's actually glued on.
Yes.
On the 100 milers, because my vet is an FEI endurance vet.
Oh, neat.
At the 100 milers, they pulled every one of those horses with those boots that were glued on. And it was about at the 50 plus mile, because the pulse and respiration didn't go back down at the checks. And so as an experiment, finally, they asked a couple of the riders, can we cut the boots off? And somewhere between 50 and 100 miles, there is either enough, I don't think swelling in the foot is the right word, but whatever it was, you know, once they were eliminated, they were pulled, and you cut the boots off, the pulse and respiration went back down. So there's, you know, okay, below 50 miles maybe on the glue-ons, but not above that.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and he said, because they kept, you know, they ran a couple of the big,
Right.
you know, and then they didn't do anything, just pulled them.
Right.
And then they finally said, you know, there's a pattern here, we can see it.
Yeah.
And so they finally asked a few riders, you know, I mean, you're out, but can we try this? And sure enough. So there must be something there, that there's either enough swelling in the foot or the lamini needs more space, and obviously there's a little soft spot there. And then put him down the long side, shoulder in right. But I thought that was interesting. I passed that on to you because, I mean, most of us don't go beyond 50 miles. But if you do, that's when you don't do glue-ons.
Well, that's interesting because we've been doing a lot with Easy. I'm actually going to go to the Renegades instead.
Good boy.
I've had nothing but problems with my Easy Boots.
Yeah.
But I was telling Marley, I'm like, oh my God, the
And
glue
again.
ones. No wonder people use them. But that's interesting you said that.
Yeah. So, but again, not a problem, you know, below 50 miles. And it was a number of different horses. Good boy. Coming out of your second corner, Travers. I like the tempo there. And yes, he's always a shrinker, we know that. But you can shrink and be pretty as you shrink. Good boy. Now, 20-meter circle. Keep that tempo, which is always a trick for him, we know. On your circle, have a good idea of where you are on the circle. Bring the shoulders in for shoulder and right on the circle. Good boy. Take the shoulders a bit righter yet. So exaggerate the angle. There you go. Yep. And now, big left-hand circle with the Verena. And shoulder and left on your circle. So take the shoulders, take much more angle than you think would be realistic for shoulder in. Go shoulder in down the rail. Because you did what everybody does, and we all do it on circle. When you ride shoulder in on the rail, you bring the shoulders in. We ride shoulder in on the circle, we push the bum out. Oops. So come out of your corner, out of H, stay on the rail, ride shoulder in on the rail. Be very clear to yourself that it is shoulders in, light and mobile for shoulder in. Good boy. 20-meter circle now. And on your circle, bring the shoulders in. Much harder, yes? Yeah. Because he's like, well, it's bum in. And you're like, no. But it's not bum out either. He's like, well, I don't know. Keep the center seam of your britches centered to left slightly. Yeah, come down here, yeah. Because you need a place where you can futz around with the footing a bit. So the shoulder in on the rail is shoulder in, no question. You can bring the shoulders in. He knows he's not supposed to push the bum out, yes. Now when you bring the shoulder in on the circle, you're like, I can ride the haunches on this line and bring the shoulders lefter. And he's like, I'll just push the bum out. And you're like, it's not the same. There you go. Feel the difference?
Yes.
So it is tricky because the circle tends to get a little bit smaller. Just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're like, I should have more control over my horse than this. And you're like, I don't seem to. Now, on your circle, ride trot ride haunches in, and that's easy. Just like put the shoulders on the line, ride butt in. I can do that. Good boy. Now, say that the haunches are on 17 meters.
Okay.
Bring the shoulders into 16 meters.
Okay.
So you're going to have to keep your right leg on him, and you're going to bring the shoulders into a smaller circle than the haunches. Yeah, he's allowed to make mistakes. And you can feel him go, but I have to take my bum out. And you're like, no, we're becoming shoulder in. We're becoming shoulder in by taking the shoulders over a whole lot more than you think is reasonable. And there's always one direction that they just, like, I don't get it. You're like, well, you can do it on the rail. It's like, it doesn't mean the same thing here, though. Because our light and mobile shoulder, the haunches just sail right past us. Now, put him down the rail. Because he didn't quite get it. So on the rail, walk or trot, your option. Ride travers, ride haunches in. Good boy. So I can do that. Let him straighten for the corners. Because he's not being bad, he just thinks it's stupid. You're going to come out of the corner, you're going to ride haunches in. You're going to plant those haunches on the inside track. And then you're going to take the shoulders lefter, and you're going to be riding shoulder in on the third track, basically. Now take the shoulders lefter. There. Isn't that interesting? Remotely possible, though, yes?
Remotely, but wow.
Yeah. All right, well, let him walk for a minute. So that for you is, can I control both ends on a lateral, on a side? And the answer was no. To the other way you could, easier, I think, because he's probably left rein dominant a bit. And you could navigate the shoulders with your outside rein. This way, when you tried to navigate the shoulders with the outside rein, the butt flew past you someplace. All right, so that would be his submission to your left leg or your seat. You're thinking, my legs or my seat have got to be connected to his hindquarters. Well, apparently they're not this direction.
That transition should have been almost like a tiny pirouette.
Like a pirouette.
Yeah,
Like a pirouette.
should have went from this
There
to a pirouette to the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And instead, the haunches kept,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and if you put your leg on him, then the haunches flung out.
Right.
So that's any which way but down and engaged.
Right.
So that's just one of those things. It's like, I should be able to control both ends. Let me think about this for a while. Because we need that for the flying changes. Because one of the patterns we do for flying changes is we say we are at canter and we half pass H towards the center line. Doesn't matter where. And say on the quarter line, you go shoulder in. You're doing half pass left, canter left. Half pass left to the quarter line, small shoulder in left on the quarter line. Turn it into small shoulder and right on the quarter line flying change.
Okay.
But now we expect you to be able to control the path of the shoulders.
Right.
And what he told you there was, he said, I know what you want. I can give you the final product. And you're like, but it's how you get there.
Right.
And he said, I don't get it. So that's just a homework project. Because he's a broke horse, and you're like, how did that sneak through there without me noticing that? Don't know how that got there.
Right. Okay. So that makes perfect sense. And that would make sense why we're having challenges getting
Right to left change, I think you said. Yeah. Because he responds laterally rather than letting you ride the haunches. I think of it as I ride the haunches straight forward and move the shoulders. And he said, I'm on a circle, don't talk to me.
Right.
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Right.
And even on the rail, it was tricky.
Yes.
But that degree of control of, and we call it mobility of the shoulders, or in the sense of trap his haunches with your legs. And he's like, untrappable.
Right.
Don't trap me.
Right. Okay.
So I think that the equitation stuff, that stuff is a gas for horses. It's kind of gymkhana with dressage put in it. And Nicole actually bought I guess it's Lusitano from Mexico via California to here, who had done that and done very well at it. And she bought him because he did flying changes. I'm like, how did it work? And she said the first year, not at all. She said he was a whole lot hotter than I thought. I'm like, well, what do you expect? It's been ridden by Spaniards. She's like, it's better now. All right, yeah.
There's a big difference in movement from the Lusitanos and the Andalusians?
Between the two?
Yeah.
Not much.
Okay, the same, because
No.
I've been doing a lot of research just because of the background.
But there are like versions in there.
That's what I
There are some of them that jump, and they're bred for that.
Okay.
There are some of them that do dressage and have more, I wouldn't call them warm-bloody gaits, but close. And then there are the others that, well, maybe there are 4 versions, because there's still some that are bred for bullfighting, and they're smaller and catty. They don't have warm-blood gaits for sure, and they don't have a lot of size. And then, I lost one. Oh, and then the ones that are bred for, I call it gymkhana, but the equitation stuff.
Right.
I mean, which have to have the agility, but not, they don't have to have the cow sense.
Right. Although, you know there's a 4th part of that competition, which is cow.
Well, yeah, but they don't have to excel at it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, gather your context. I mean, to me, it's a well-broke Andalusian Lusitano.
Right.
That is catty but not hysterical.
Right.
And some of the ones we get here in the U.S. are just, and they don't ride the mares for a reason, because the mares are not very rideable.
Really?
No.
Why is that?
The same reason they don't ride the Lipizzan mares, for the same reason.
I don't know what that reason is.
Okay, well, all right, we'll rephrase this. When you're riding a hot, sensitive horse, a stallion is just about right,
Okay.
because there's this diffuser, this barrier you have to get through the hormones.
Yes.
So a hot horse that's a stallion is fairly rideable.
Okay.
Make that hot horse a mare, and it's not very rideable.
Okay.
It's just off the wall, too hot to ride, too reactive. You know, super. We don't have the words for it, because we don't. I mean, if we had one like that in our other bloodlines, we'd get rid of it immediately because it's not rideable.
Right.
So Lipizzan's same sort of thing, although they're not hot in the same way, but very, very difficult to ride the Lipizzan mares, the purebreds at least. And so the Spaniards ride the stallions. If they're gelded, they go off to pull a cart someplace, or they get sold to America. So basically, they really only ride the stallions. The mares are breeding animals, that's it. And the geldings they go pull a cart, or they feed the hounds or something.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm trying to think if there's another breed where, I can't think of one that's hot enough that we would only ride the stallions. I'm going to work on that for a while. But typically riding a stallion, well, thoroughbred sort of, typically riding a stallion is about like watching snot slide down a mirror. It's because when you put your leg on them, it's either flee or fight.
Right.
And by the time you get past that, the moment is past, whatever you were going to do. All right, so what I want to see is I want to see left lead canter. We're going to do the half pass pattern. We're going to come out of the corner at H. You're going to half pass to the first quarter line. You're going to ride shoulder and left on the quarter line.
Okay, so I'm going to canter.
Canter left lead, H half pass to the first quarter line.
First quarter line, and then.
On the quarter line, ride shoulder and left.
Okay.
Then straighten, ride shoulder and right, flying change to right lead. Counter canter at the end of the ring. If there's room, and there's never enough room, I can tell you that.
Oh, I know there's room.
Yeah, he can do it. It's a short court, right? He's skilled at that now. But you have to ride a corner. He's like, all right, let's get going here.
And then some days he's just a little pistol.
Yes, he is.
Today he's my little pistol.
24 and growing younger.
Yep. 24.
Oh, yeah. And then a wee shoulder and left. Then a wee shoulder and right. Flying change to right lead. Good boy. Counter canter. So that for him is a submission thing to be able to counter canter there, yes?
And that was my fault.
Yeah, you said turn, he turned. Yeah. So he saved your bacon, but the change was clean.
Yes.
All right. So part of this is just the submission issue of like, if I say shoulder in, you do it. It's not a big deal. Oh boy. This is so exciting. So make a 20-meter circle on left leg canter. Unwind the corkscrew just a bit here. Probably don't need that, Mom.
No, we don't.
So 20-meter circle, and this time we'll go down on left lead preferably. We'll go down the center line, You'll half pass left to my quarter line. A few steps of shoulder and left, straight